South Africa's insurance industry has started to tally the rise in cost around claims for ongoing power outages in the country and are now starting to refuse clients cover. Some insurers are also warning that insurance premiums will need to increase and that not all forms of damages from load shedding will be, or rather, load shedding on the national grid will be covered at this point.
Two of the country's largest insurers have hinted that clients will not be covered in the event of a national grid failure, but coverage for normal load shedding events will remain. Santam, South Africa's biggest short-term insurance group, reported a 60% rise in claims for damage to sensitive electronic items in September when it delivered its half-year financials. Joining us from South Africa to discuss this further is Mr. Zakes Sondiyazi. He's an insurance risk manager, I beg your pardon, for South African Insurance Association. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
We can't deny how it's really been a tough year for South Africans, for those in the South Africans generally having to deal with load shedding, and for the insurance industry. Give us some context as to some of the other factors that have resulted in the industry being hit very hardly in the most recent times.
Thank you very much, and thank you once again for showing interest to the topics of South Africa. South African Insurance Association is an association like any other association that represents plus minus 54 insurance members in South Africa. So we present around about 99% of the insurance, non-life insurance market. And back to your question, I would say as an industry, we are a tough industry by its nature because we are in the business of paying insurance. We're in the business of paying claims in the event of eventualities. And I think the last 4 years has attested to that. We are very resilient as an industry. We are dynamic. We are agile. And I think we were able to prove this during the COVID. We were able to prove this during the national floods in Natal. And also with the looting that happened where the number of insurance companies acted as agents for the SASRIA, who are the custodians or the insurer that insures looting-related claims. So as an industry, although it's tough times, but we are a tough industry, and I think we are here to stay for next century. Thank you.
Yeah, we know that load shedding has, had a very significant impact on businesses across South Africa. Has there been any decision on how damages from load shedding can be handled? And can you also share with us, what are the most common insurance claims that companies like yours have been receiving?
Yeah, that's a very good question because, as we are aware, insurance it's a in short event principal business where you cover certain elements, lines of businesses where you cover fire, you will cover theft, you will cover water-related damages, and at lightning is covered, power surge is covered. So load shedding on its own, it falls under the element of, because the damages mainly will be outages, or lightning-related damages, or anything that's got to electrical failure. So most of the insurance companies treat this individually. There is no a blanket. We don't sit and discuss as to the industry what we need to do. Each and every insurer decides as to extend the cover to continue or to be dynamic and review what they are covering. But in the last, since the load shedding has started, load shedding related claims as a which result to outages are being entertained by a number of insurance companies. And the last time I checked the number of complaints in our ombudsman platform, and I'm happy to announce that was limited. There were very minimal complaints with regarding to insurance companies looking into these claims. So I'm happy to say happy to say these claims are being entertained by respective insurance, but we need to caution in terms of saying there's a kitty that can get depleted, because you must remember, in South Africa, insurance is not catered for by government. It's not budgeted for by any government institution. It's the money of each and every individual that pays for insurance. So an insurance needs to be mindful, needs to be resilient, needs to have frameworks that will make sure that kitty doesn't get depleted. So they will come with dynamic and mechanisms that will make sure that the claims are managed well.
All right, now let's talk about the decision to exclude damages arising from the electricity grid failure. Is this different from the damages, from load shedding? And, when will this exclusion kick in?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Very good question. And I think between you and me, we will agree when it happens, insurance will be one or the least of the things that we'll worry about. When national grid failure hits, basic things will take into four. People will be more worried about food. People will be more worried about water. People will be more worried about energy, where they're going to get energy. I don't think a sensible person will be more worried about whether my insurance is still active or what. But the assurance is given out there to say, in the event that happens, the government, South African government, together with its stakeholders, are busy looking into that and making sure that it doesn't happen. In the event it happens, God forbid, insurance, after it has passed, your insurance policy will still remain active. It will still entertain all the valid claims when necessary. So at this point in time, I wouldn't say the effect, what will it be? Because as I say, basic human needs will take precedence. No one will be worried about insurance when there's no water and there's no food.
Now, I also want to know, about the level of awareness that insurance companies are providing, and are the insurance companies also being sincere, with their customers? In the time that has passed, I understand that everyone would rather have this load shedding period to completely just go away, but are insurance companies being sincere? Are they being honest with their customers? Do you think that there might be lawsuits that would follow in a short while?
Yeah, that's because this thing is ongoing, and I'll give you a simple example. You've got a claim today. Your TV is damaged by outage. Insurance entertain your claim. You go to work next week. You come back. Your TV again is damaged. Following week. Just imagine that kind of cost. Who's going to manage that cost? As I've highlighted to you, that the kitty gets depleted. So some of the element and some of the caution goes back to the customer as well. People need to be careful. People need to be cautious when they leave their houses as well. At least switch off everything before you go to work or you go to the malls. Switch off everything. Act as the first insurer of your products and avoid unnecessary claims delay and avoid unnecessary complaints in the event of a claim. So as an industry, we do those SMSs. We on TV, the spokesperson of respective insurance companies, they do go out and tell them, advise people, provide tips as to what to do to avoid disappointment in the event of a claim. But the very, very critical thing is to act as the first insurer of your properties. Make sure, don't leave everything unattended and say, I've got insurance.
On a final note, I think I'd ask, is there insurance for the insurance companies as well? Because I know that they're making a lot of losses. Would you give us insight into that?
That's a very good question. Yes, there is. We call them reinsurance companies. So insurance companies have got a backup that is provided by the reinsurance companies. They take a risk. What they do is they will take a certain element of the risk on behalf of the respective insurance companies. For example, during the looting, SASRA, which is the Special Risk Insurance Assistance Association of South Africa, used that leg as well to pay those claims, because those claims went into billions of risk of rents during the floods as well. It was billions. So no insurer on its own can be able to handle such. Therefore, we've got some form of insurance as insurance companies. That is correct. Good
All right.
question.
We, of course, would have to wrap up here. Thank you so much for your time. There's a lot more that we added to this conversation. I've seen, also people complaining about, insurance companies adding certain clauses that exclude customers from, being able to get claims for damaged property. But of course, we will bring you in again, and we'll continue this conversation, I believe, as long as load shedding lasts in South Africa. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.